What does Candace Parker, Cheryl Miller, LeBron James, and Caitlyn Clark all have in common? I'll tell you. They were all considered the golden child. Cheryl Miller is considered the GOAT woman basketball player. She never got a chance to play in the WNBA because it just wasn't around for her. But by and large, everybody considers her the GOAT, the greatest women's basketball player ever. I don't even know if that's even argued for real because the only argument would just be she didn't get to play in the W, and some of the other GOATs did play in the W, but I think the consensus idea of Cheryl Miller is she was the greatest to ever play. Candace Parker, she took the world by storm. Like, everybody talked about her. Everybody knew who she was. Her timing was right. She was kind of like, I think she was along the same draft class as LeBron, or maybe a couple years younger, but like the young players coming into the league was like at its peak at that time. I'm from that era too. I wasn't a pro ball player, but we're all in the same age bracket. So it was LeBron, it was Candace, it was Melo. It was just like a time where this young talent was coming in, and they were doing it on the men's. She was doing it on the women's. She was the golden child. She was cold in college. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't deserved. It was well deserved. She was cold in college. She came into the league and won MVP as a rookie and had a phenomenal career. And she lived up to being the golden child coming into the league. And then LeBron is the same way. We all know he's the chosen one. He called himself the chosen one. We're all familiar with his story. He is one of the top two best players ever by most people's standards. If you don't have him one, you probably have him two. Somehow you might have him three, but he is that guy. He was the golden child. He was supposed to be the next coming of Mike. And we all are just familiar with his story and what he's done for the league. Who else fits in that category is Caitlyn Clark. She is the new golden child. She's the one being credited for changing things in the league, even though some of us more seasoned people knew like the charter flights and all that stuff was already in the process and in the work. Did she speed it up? Possibly. I can't say for sure. But she was the one that was presented to us, and she's going to change the whole entire league. They're going to finally be profitable and all these different things because Caitlyn Clark is now in this league. She's the viewership magnet and all these different things. And so they relate to her on that level. So I think that's why we're getting so much praise from those type of people and those people with Caitlyn Clark. But the way they talked about Angel Reese in that video, there's the video out with Candace and Cheryl Miller. They mentioned them in the same sentence, and this is how Cheryl Miller mentioned her. Caitlyn's a dog. She's generational. She's one of the best players ever. And Angel is developing or growing. One of those two words, developing and growing. Angel is coming along or developing. And it's just like, this is the problem with, this is the problem Angel's fans are seeing is, why did she always have, why do you have to tear down Angel to build up Caitlyn? What does that really say about Angel? And what Angel's doing is generational. We've never seen, they just put out a graphic, and it was her, Hakeem, I think it was her, Hakeem, David Robinson, and Charles Barkley had only accomplished a certain amount of rebounds and points. Like, she's doing generational stuff that the W has never seen. Now, her generational talent might not be shooting from 35 feet, but what she's doing is generational too, and she should start being talked upon like that. Like, she should be talked about as somebody that's doing something the league has never seen. I noticed, I'm a Candace Parker fan, so I was like, oh, Angel just broke her record. Oh, Candace Parker, my favorite. Candace Parker is about to shout out the up and coming fave, Angel Reese. This is gonna be a dope moment. She never even mentioned it, which is cool. She doesn't have to, but I thought like the passing of, because we've seen it happen so much for Candace, like that passing of the torch. And when it came to Angel, everybody's starting to look like, oh man, like that's not there. Even during Unrivaled, there was moments where Angel had a big game, and the other cast members would speak so highly of her, and Candace would kind of give you that bare, yeah, this is what she did. You know what I mean? And the other people are like gassing it up and excited about Angel. So people start pointing that stuff out. I personally don't. I'm not that type of person. I ain't about to have. I'm not gonna have a big problem with it. I know this stuff and be like, all right. But I think they don't relate to her. And you get people like Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops. I think they just relate a little bit more to Angel. On the level as like they were wearing lipstick during the game. Like, even though Lisa Leslie, one of the GOATs as well, she just didn't have that like hype from what I was told. I watched, but I didn't pay. I was too young to really be tapped into who's getting the hype and stuff. But from what I was told, her hype wasn't as big as like Cheryl Miller. Cheryl Miller is a living legend. Like her career was so legendary, but there's a whole generation of people that don't even know it. So she's like literally a living legend. And so that had already happened before Lisa. And then it was this time period where you had those Lisas and Cheryls and all those people, and the league was killing. You had Don Staley, and then the second coming was like Candace Parker. So I don't think Candace and Cheryl, and again, Cheryl was like the legend before the pros, but she was the big thing in NCAA. And so I don't think like there was just that moment that Lisa got to be just this thing. Like we all at the world sports world loves her and knows her, but it was like Cheryl's thing was like, oh, she didn't get to play, so she would have been the greatest ever. And Candace's thing was like, oh, she was one of the greatest ever in college. She was dunking in games. Now she's gonna come into the league and do this. And I just think they had like that golden child, like just this pedestal thing going on, and they can relate to Caitlyn. I think Angel being coming, she's a seventh pick. Nobody expected her to go win a title. I just don't think that these legends and these all time great can relate to her. So it kind of comes off as they're poo pooing her, putting what she does on the back burner as if they don't see the greatness, as if she doesn't deserve the pedestal as well. She has the perfect underdog story. She got drafted late. She got injured early in her college career. Nobody expected LSU to go win a championship, and she led them by scoring 25 and 14 a game. So she has the perfect story for people to buy into. And now she's in the pros, got drafted late. She wasn't a lottery. I think in the the lottery's first five, she was number 7. Rickea Jackson, Aaliyah Edwards, Cam Brink, Camilla, all drafted before her as bigs. We would consider her to be the second best player in the draft, and she was not the lottery pick. So there's a story there that needs to be told, and we can start telling her story the right way without tearing her down to build somebody up, or using her to tear somebody else down. Like we don't want it that way either. But it's time for everybody to put some respect on what she's doing. If we really pay attention, it's a non-lottery pick. People during the draft, the drafts they talk about her potential was like, we don't know if it's going to translate. She was that player. We don't know if it's going to translate. So she got drafted lower than some of the other players. And so there's a story to be told, and she can have her own story without it being connected to somebody else. But she also doesn't have to be pushed down to praise somebody else. So I think, a lot of people are confused. Why does it seem like this energy is happening from these legends? And I really think she just didn't have that golden spoon, that golden child thing happen. And some of these people just can't relate because they were that. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not knocking them. I just think that's what the difference is. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm AJ. This is my mic. Peace.